50% of women will be childless, cat ladies, and men don't care. Modern women have done this to themselves. They made a decision. They chose to go down this path. They chose to embrace feminism. They chose to put the man out of the home. They chose to use the family court systems to destroy the lives of men, to extract wealth and resources, alongside divorce court. They chose to create a society where men no longer want to be there. The only men that are active in the society are really simps. Even on my channel, I get frustrated because I see some of you guys just talking absolute nonsense about men cannot live without women. It's like whenever I hear a man say that a man cannot live without a woman, that's just how we are. That's the way God made us. We are made for one another. I think, okay, so this is a man who clearly hasn't learned his lesson yet. As men, we are alone in this world. And people don't comprehend it. It's only when guys often go through their second divorce in some cases or third divorce do they finally learn their lesson and they understand that no, as a man, you're on your own. It doesn't matter if you were married to her for 1 year, 10 year, or 25 years. That marriage often breaks down over time, and you don't even see it coming because all of this is happening mentally for her. She's going through the grieving and the divorce process. She's unhappy. She's been unhappy for years. You know, the streets are calling to her. Many of you go, "This is too angry. You're absolutely horrible. What you're saying is terrible. You shouldn't be saying these types of things." Bro, how many guys married a woman when she was 20 years old, 18 years old, and now the woman is in her 40s, and where is she? She's in the streets. She's in the streets. There's a channel called The Desirable Truth. You have women who are married for 25 years, and now where are they? They're in the streets looking and messing around with young men, and they're getting their backs blown out by young men in their 40s, and they think that they're the prize. But the reality is that they basically threw their marriages away. They had a stable marriage. They had a husband who was providing for them, who cared about them. They had everything they needed, and guess what? They became bored in the relationship. They began creating chaos in the relationship, and ultimately it collapsed. They destroyed it. They took off. They got alimony. They took half the guy's stuff, and now they're out back in the streets. And again, even though they won't find a man who's willing to marry them, but they will find a line of young men who will very happily be physically intimate with them, because men will just take whatever they can get. That's just the way it is. Just to be clear with you, if you go back decades ago, before women had access to social media, it was very different for women. Women often took whatever they could get. How do I know this? I used to be, I remember back in the 90s. This is an experience that I had. I had a friend, right? And I knew this guy, and I was walking one day, and I run into this guy, and this was back in the 90s. So, yeah, like late 90s, early 2000s. And he's with this girl, and I'm like, I run into him like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?" And I see the girl, and I'm looking at the girl, and the girl is just gorgeous. She's something out of a music video, and she's just standing right there, and I'm like, "Bro, how did you get this girl?" And I straight up say to her, "Excuse me, how did he get you?" And she understood. She understood. She absolutely understood. I said, "How did he get you?" I was like, "Dude, how did you get this girl?" "Excuse me, how did he get you? What is this? What the hell is this?" And you know what happened? And he literally goes, "Man, I just spoke to her." She goes, "No, he just spoke to me. He just spoke to me." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. You're out of his league." "Yeah, no, listen, man, you just have to understand. All you have to do is just talk to girls. Just have to speak to us." Guys, this was how things used to be. This is how things used to be. Before social media, women did not have these options. They could not constantly, be running around with these fools. If they wanted to, most men would never approach a woman in public. This is a fact that a lot of people don't understand. You can go back 60 years. This is how it is. You can go back 40 years, 30 years, 20 years. Women who say that they're constantly being, bothered by men in public, they're liars. Those are the women who are especially spending their entire lives on social media. And they always have guys in their DMs. "Oh, I'm a married woman." Yeah, you're a married woman, but the reason why you feel like you're constantly being bombarded by men is because you're on social media all the time. So you're constantly talking to men on social media. You have men in your DMs constantly on social media. So the moment if a guy even speaks to you in public, you feel like you're being bombarded by guys. When in reality, how many men have spoken to you in public in the last 10 years? 10 years, okay? Outside of, say, a police officer or an employee at a store, a security guard, or these people. How many just men have randomly tried to have a conversation with you? And you could probably count that a woman can probably count those numbers on her entire hand in many cases. It very seldomly happens. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous what they're doing. Ridiculous.
So, everyone knows the commonly cited Morgan Stanley study that half of women are going to be single and childless between the ages of 25 and 45 by 2030. Now, it's 2024, we're 6 years away, and we're already starting to see this, right? And I had somebody recently say to me that he just expects to be a single parent because that's the way the world is going. And even though this is kind of a gloomy outlook, I couldn't help but think he was right. And the reason that I couldn't help but think he was right is I'm already starting to see it. So let's say half of women don't marry, don't have kids, okay? What happens to the other half of the women? Let's say that, let's be generous here. Half of the women that have kids, let's say a third will be single mothers. I think we all could agree, on both sides, that's probably about true. Now, let's say the 2/3 get married. Now, we know that half will divorce, so then you take out that half. Now you have the third of the half, which is like, 15, 20%. Let's just say 20% of women. No, that's too high. Let's say 15% left that stay married. We know a quarter of marriages are sexless. I would argue that's on the low end. So you take out a quarter. That's maybe 5-10% of people that are married. And it's really interesting because I'm going to keep seeing the cope, right? I'm going to keep seeing everybody say, return to traditionalism. And don't confuse this with being my hope. This isn't what I hope to happen, but what seems like, and every indication is showing that it's going to happen. We've liberated women to the point that they don't need men. They're given jobs we don't deserve. We're overpaid, and we're given government incentives to leave. So many women have chosen to do that. I'm guessing about a quarter of women by 2030, maybe 2035, will be doing sex work to some capacity. I think you could argue it's already that high with the rise of OnlyFans, but we all know that academia is always going to censor information that makes women look bad because you see it in real time. Whenever I say any information that makes women look bad, the gut reaction is, 1, what did the men do? And 2, something that excuses the behavior. For example, if I talk about women making bad choices, what do you guys do? What does the simpery do? Oh, it's the culture's fault. Oh, it's feminism's fault. It's never the woman's individual choice. Now, what does that tell us? We actually live in a culture that doesn't shame women for doing any of these decisions. You see female single mother influencers on the right.
You know what I find really intriguing, though? By not holding women accountable, it actually hurts women. It hurts lots of women because you can see that as a result of this, you have women who commit crimes, women who do a lot of bad things, and these things hurt other women, but they're not held accountable for it. Men are. Men are held accountable for everything. They're held accountable for even the bad behavior of women. They say it's the culture. It's how it's the men. That's how the Simps do everything. The Simps and the feminists. But you know what's interesting? I'm beginning to see at least more women starting to lash out at guys like Dr. Umar. You can call him Dr. Umar and Destiny. Like I'm literally watching different women lashing out at these men because these men are condoning criminal behavior. There was this woman who there was this woman like who committed these crimes, and I forget if it was the one who like claimed that she was abducted or whatever. And and you have Umar like, baby, I'm just gonna hold you and tell you don't do that anymore. And it's like Umar is like coddling women and excusing away criminal acts that put society at jeopardy, put women at jeopardy, because these women are being allowed to do this and get away with it. And other women are basically seeing it now, like they're beginning to call out these men. They're beginning to go after Destiny. They're going after Umar because they realize that these men they would literally watch a woman delete someone and say and then try and then completely justify it and say the woman should not go to jail. She should be right back in the streets where she belongs. She right out there. Well, right in the streets where she belongs, and so that she can go and rinse and repeat this behavior. Like you'll have a woman who, she won't stop drinking and operating a motor vehicle, and then she ends up deleting five people. And Umar is there like, listen to me. It's because of men and patriarchy why this happens. She does not need jail. Okay, she needs counseling. And then of course there are a bunch of women who are screaming and hollering like, are you out of your damn mind? This is her 15th arrest. How the hell was she still on the road? You know? She cannot be out in the street. She's a danger to society. And women have and now and then women are like, why is no one holding her accountable? It's because of these men. It's because of the simple race. Because we create a society where women are told where we're told women should not be held accountable. The only people that are held accountable and punished for that are punished too much are men. Guys, don't forget also that I have another channel called Angry. It's where I discuss gaming, anime, geek stuff, nerd stuff, real world stuff, and whatever else interests me. There's a link to it in the description of the video. Go and check it out. Support my work, support my content. I mean, 50% of women will be childless, cat ladies, and men don't care. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Like the video. This will be by 2030. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. But if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.